the leaders of your country are broke, you're broke as a citizen of it. The money you have, wherever you are, is worth as much as the people who stand behind it. Let that sink in. You're the people. It's almost disrespectful. On top of that, the Treasury's Bureau of Engraving and Printing Services print on the money, "In God We Trust." It's almost like they're praying to God that people still trust it and see it as valuable. And that is great branding. A cosign by God? Who can beat that? But who knows? This must be a very broke God, because America's in debt. And we talk about reparations, wanting reparations here, Black people wanting, reparations, And it's interesting because reparations in 2022, I looked, and the estimated reparations for every Black person in totality, they would have to disperse $10 trillion. And we are in debt. Trillions. So you ever let somebody borrow like $200, $300, and you see in 2 years, 3 years later, they still don't have the money? Well, what do you think about trillions of dollars? So they had this thing called the Church Committee, right? And the Church Committee, they're this United States Senate committee to study governmental operations, intelligence activities, and they were investigating the CIA and found shocking revelations. So they have to Operation MK Ultra, involving drugging and torture of non-consensual human beings as part of a human experiment, experimentation on mind control. That even included COINTELPRO. That was this, they basically surveillance and infiltrated the American political and civil rights organizations. They're what dismembered the Black Panthers, and now we have the Bloods and the Crips because of it. Operation Family Jewels, a covert assassination plan for foreign leaders, Operation Mockingbird, a systematic propaganda campaign with domestic and foreign journalists, operating as CIA assets in dozens of U.S. news organizations. And they owe money to a lot of these families, like legitimately. And the pain cannot be covered with money. But on top of that, they're never gonna get that money. That's just some of the, by the numbers. It's a numbers thing. There's 12 federal banks in America that are responsible for distribution and managing money and sending out money to the citizens and managing the jobs, making sure that there are enough jobs for people so the country and the economy stays afloat. But that's not what happens. What happens is they're a risk management company, and these banks send out loans and they want a return on their investment, and they want their interest because they are banks. That's what banks do. Federal banks are no different. They're just federal. What do you think happens when you don't pay your mortgage? The bank takes your house. So what do you think happens when they don't get the money back from the country? They take the country and they raise inflation, and it goes up. You end up losing a house. You can't afford the lifestyle you were living before because your dollar doesn't have the same purchasing power. It's a lot of stuff going on. You know what utility means? Yes, utility bill, water, gas. No, not that. Utility, and yes, how useful something is, but now it's a measurement of how much you enjoy the thing you're using. So are we using money, or are we letting money use us? Because we're at a point where reparations becomes something that's no longer useful. If we had $10 trillion, would it be worth to buy $10 trillion worth of produce? Because if inflation is bringing the money down and the cost of living is going high, that may not even still be a match as far as what it's owed if we were to really break it down. But let's keep it simple. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, where did it come from? Nobody knows. Less than 10 years, it's a bigger company than Apple. it's not a company, it's an industry now. But what I'm saying is it's one of the biggest industries in the world that's now in charge of financial revolution and shaping the world moving forward. As of recently, in the last 10 years, tapping into the $1 trillion and maybe even more network of money and store of values that we have, cryptography has now changed how currency flows, and it's being used for everything now, especially money. And money was just created out of thin air with Bitcoin, and the founder or creator Satoshi is nowhere to be found. They said the enemy has no face. Was it him? I don't know. But what this shows is the ability to create money out of thin air. See, we are the money. People don't realize that, but we are the worth, the value to each other in community, what we're looking for. We just don't always see it that way. We might be the only hope. The African diaspora. We connect. Africa has research. This is just an idea. This is an idea that I'm accustomed to. Africa has resources. African Americans know how to run and operate, do business in a way to where we have some experience that Africans don't have, that we make up for the resources, the rich resources that Africa has, that we don't have in those rich resources. So the knowledge that Africa can bring with those resources, with our capability to manage those resources, put together, creates a bigger resource for us both to pull from. And a coalition between Africans and African Americans with cryptocurrency like Oduwa Coin brings that to fruition real time, right now, in real life, to where we can see change and movement right now, just like how Bitcoin has made change and movement in people's lives this past 10 years. And that those changes are forever. And keep in mind, sometimes chances like this happen once. So Oduwa Coin is a solution leveraging technology and the capability of blockchain over a concept like reparations. It's more useful. It's being used. So what are you waiting for? If you want change now and don't want to deal with politics and bureaucratic nonsense, come to Oduwa.